This classic, probably just old, movie is called Argo. It was made in 2012, which isn't that long ago. In 1979, Iranian Islamists stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in retaliation for Jimmy Carter granting asylum to the Shah of Iran in the U.S. I believe at that time he needed cancer surgery of some sort. Here's the DVD. Now, the director of this movie was Ben Affleck. Screenplay by Chris Terrio. It's based on a novel called The Master of Disguise, written by Antonio J. Mendez. Not quite the plot, but the back is about how the CIA used a fake sci-fi film to rescue U.S. embassy set off in Tehran. The film was produced by Ben Affleck, George Clooney, Grant Heslov, and David Clavance. The starring actors were Ben Affleck, Victor Garber, Bryan Cranston, Alan Arkin, and John Goodman. The cinematography was done by Rodrigo Presto, and it was edited by William Goldenberg. Music by Alexander Desplat. The production companies were JK Films and Smokehouse Pictures. It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. The budget was $45 million and it made $232 million. A real barn buster. It received 7 Academy Award nominations. Likely because the Academy Awards are a U.S. thing, and this was a very patriotic Save America movie. It won 5. Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director, Outstanding Performance by a Cast, Best Film, Best Editing. The plot. The embassy is stormed by Islamic radicals. 65 embassy staff are taken hostage. 6 embassy staff are sheltered in the home of Canadian Ambassador Ken Taylor. This was a secret. Nobody knew they were there. Tony Nandez, the CIA operative, decides they will masquerade as a Canadian filmmaker crew to sneak them out. Film producer Lester Segal set up a phony film production company. Argo is the filmmaking company. Fake passports and identification needed to be fabricated. However, a military rescue plan is also planned, but the alternate escape was to be continued. The rescue never took place, so plane tickets are purchased, and all 6 escapees, with some challenges, are on the plane. It is kept secret for years, till long after 1997, when Bill Clinton declassified the escape. Now, the actors in this movie are Ben Affleck as Tony Mendez, Bryan Cranston as CI Director Jack O'Donnell, Alan Arkin as Lester Segal, John Goodman as John Chambers, Victor Garber as Ken Taylor, Tate Duncan as Bob Anders, Clea Duvall as Cora, Scott McNavy as Joe Stafford, Rory Cochrane as Lee Schultz, Christopher Graham as Mark Leged, Carrie Bish as Kathy Stafford, Kyle Chandler played the Chief of Staff Hamilton Jordan, Chris Messina played the CIA officer Malinoff, Zelridge Lunick played Robert Pender, Titus Welliver played John Bates, Keith Sarabajka played Alan Engel, Philip Baker Hall played CI Director Stanfield Turner, Bob Ganton played Secretary of State Cyrus Vance, Matthew Glav played Colonel Charles W. Scott. In lesser roles, Richard Kind played Max Klein, Michael Parks played Jack Curloy, Richard Delane played OSS Officer Nichols, Oman Alatahi played Riza Bomi, Sheila Vend played Sarah, Taylor Schilling played Christine Mendez, Fashim Fazli played as a Comatech subordinate, Sam McGlynn played the part of a fundamentalist at a bazaar. It was filmed in Los Angeles, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Istanbul. Music of the time was used. Music from the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Dire Straits, and Van Halen. Iranians were pissed sometime later when they found out about this escape. It was many years later before they knew about it. I hope you enjoy the film because I did. I'm not a big Ben Affleck fan, but I did enjoy this. The only peeve I have is Canadians were the heroes in real life, but it was the Americans the heroes in the film. What can you say? Take care now.